Welcome to Courtside, a final day of regular discussions about the legal issues surrounding Donald Trump. It's day 78 after the election, and he's hit the road, Jack. He's out. Yes, as I told you from when we first started this journey a long time ago, around November 7th or so, this day has arrived. It is January 20th. There is a new president, Joe Biden, and a new sworn-in vice president, Kamala Harris. When I first did a Courtside video, I didn't even call it Courtside then, I just did a short video and I thought I'd record like a minute or two once or twice a week. I should have known that the Trump cray-cray would make this a multi-volume installment every day. Sometimes even I was tempted to do 2 in a day. But it's been an absolute privilege. We've laughed together. We've drank together, we've sang together, we've read constitutional texts together, we've scratched our heads with a what the F together, but through it all, I've never lost my faith for even a minute that this moment would happen. Not one moment. So cheers to all of you for helping make it possible. And of course, when we started, none of us anticipated the horror of January 6th. 2 weeks ago, what befell our capital? There were, however, people who did. You know, around December 2nd, I gave you in Courtside the words of Gabe Sterling, that Georgia Republican elections official, who told the president, you got to call off these folks. He said, quote, someone's going to get hurt, someone's going to get shot, someone's going to get killed. What did the president do when hearing that? Nothing. Actually, he did more than nothing. He went and called out those troops, those militia folks again and again and again and again, and we saw what happened as a result. What a contrast the last few hours has been with the horror show of the last 4 years. Joe Biden's speech today was all about unity. And, you know, that idea, National Day of Unity, sets such a nice tone for the new administration. Who knows? Trump might even feel like he can come in from the cold and ask for a pardon. In the Oval Office, out, quite literally, goes Andrew Jackson. And in comes Kennedy. In comes FDR. There's a lot of debate tonight about where Trump lands on the list of worst presidents. Look, I think it's too early to decide. We should wait for at least the first couple of grand juries before resolving this thing. But Donald Trump is going to face the same legal harsh regime that he's doled out to African Americans, to protesters, to his enemies. But there's a big difference with the Biden administration. And that's that this justice will be even-handed. It won't be vindictive in the way that Trump's was. It'll be about the law. So let me break down for you what I think is going to, what the different places in which Trump is going to, face legal problems are. So one is there are federal investigations. We know of an ongoing one. The Southern District of New York has a federal investigation about Trump. He's called individual number 1. That investigation we know is at least about his expensing, as what he calls a business expense, $130,000 to Stormy Daniels. I don't think much business was being transacted, but somehow he decided that he would deduct it from his tax return. If you or I did that, I think we'd be in jail. So that's part of it. Part of it's also about asset inflation and deflation. That is, like when he goes and tries to seek bank loans, he claims these properties are worth a lot of money in order to say he has more equity. But then on his tax returns and stuff, he said they have very little money and the like. Now, that whole investigation somehow just disappeared once Bill Barr became Attorney General. We don't know what happened exactly, but absolutely it should be looked at. And so that's one set of federal investigations about Trump's misdeeds before he got into office. There's also going to be a separate federal investigation into incitement and what Trump did with respect to January 6th. And look, I'm the first to admit, let's have that investigation. Let's see what it uncovers. Did Trump have any sort of mens rea, some criminal intent to incitement, or not? Was this just an exercise of his First Amendment rights? Let's see. I don't think we should just, condemn him and say, lock him up the way that Trump would do. We're better than that just because he's not. There are also state investigations. There's New York's investigation, which is again about financial issues. It's already gone to the Supreme Court. Trump lost it 9-0, lost his own appointees, Justices Katyal and Gorsuch. Everyone ruled against him. So that stuff's going to come out, be before a grand jury, and be potentially very interesting. And then there's a separate criminal investigation going on in Georgia. Because, I know there's so much stuff has happened in the last 2 weeks, but 2 weeks ago, there was this audio tape of Donald Trump basically, pushing state officials to do his bidding, change his votes. I just got to find 11,780 votes. I mean, that was so crazy that it induced me to sing for you, okay? So listen, all of this is serious. If you or I did it, it'd be an easy, open criminal investigation, probably an indictment. Let's see what the facts have. Trump's legal prospects are basically like the 143 pardons he dumped on us last night. It's going to take a while to unpack it all, but eventually it's going to go over like a lead balloon. And really, honestly, it looks like Donald Trump is moving into his next TV hit concept, The Defendant. It's too bad he pardoned Steve Bannon and Lil Wayne. I'm sure they would have loved to be on the first season of the spinoff. Now, before gloriously flying away today, Trump did two things. First, he left a note for Joe Biden. That's traditional for outgoing presidents. We still don't know as of now what that note says. But never, you got to admire Trump's chutzpah. I mean, never let it be said that a pair of impeachments, a few criminal investigations, or a boatload of civil actions could stop this guy from thinking, yeah, I'm in a position to give some legal advice to my successor. So that's the first thing he did. He left that note. And the second is he told the crowd, we'll be back in some form. My money is he'll be back with headlines saying something like, Florida man seeks defense attorney, or something like that. Donald Trump has departed my great city of Washington, D.C. as a complete and total loser. I kid you not. I mean, literally, even the Proud Boys tonight, even the Proud Boys called him, quote, a total failure. Forget about alienating moderates. Trump has managed to lose the support of people who literally risk their lives to help try and keep him in power just 2 weeks ago. On a more serious note, some of you are watching the scenes today after the inauguration speeches and Joe Biden's motorcade moving along Constitution Avenue to Arlington National Cemetery where our heroes are buried. And it was striking to me to see those images of razor wire on Constitution Ave, the whole Ave. It's an avenue that's been open since I was a kid, but it was razor wired. What a metaphorical image, Constitution Avenue surrounded by razor wire. In a way, to me, it reflected the breakdown of law. This is what we've become inured to over the last 4 years. Look, I teach constitutional law, and I've been such a vocal opponent as president and talked to you and everything else, not because of politics. It's not politics. You can be as conservative as you want. This is not about that. This is about someone who's been stoking lawlessness and division, someone who didn't care about our most basic values, who set them aside. And it, as I talked about last night, it started right away with the Muslim ban. And it continued with these odious child separation policies. And his talk of judges, his judges, that's a clue. It wasn't just lawlessness in general. It was lawlessness for his benefit. And that mentality extended to all sorts of grotesque things, like going easy on his friends, and firing people who disagreed with him or who had the temerity to suggest that maybe he was doing something unlawful. And it culminated in yesterday night's 1 a.m. pardons, which, at least right now, we don't know that they were for sale, but might be pretty suspicious. This is a guy who, like last night, revoked in the middle of the night his order barring Trump administration officials from lobbying. When he came in, he's like, I'm draining the swamp and anyone who works for me can't lobby for 5 years. Well, last night he just secretly and quietly revoked it. What a complete mess and joke of an administration. But it's more than a joke, because jokes are funny, and what he's done is spit on our Constitution and laws. Well, anyway, the great news about today is the rule of law is back. And it's so fitting to have a president whose inauguration wasn't spent talking about himself and how great he was and lying, but about our values and about bringing us together, and who in one of his very first acts today revoked that Muslim ban and revoked the child separation policy. What a beautiful message of unity we heard tonight. So, with that, my dear viewers, thousands of you every night have come to watch, maybe learn a thing or two, hopefully smile a little bit, maybe have a virtual milk and cookies, like it's not so bad kind of thing. And all of you have meant so much to me. And the truth is, the only way I think we're going to get past the last 4 years and progress as a society toward a more perfect union is for us to listen and learn from one another. And I don't know, honestly, what Courtside will become. Speaking, candidly, it's really hard to pull this off every day. I mean, I have 3 jobs already as it is. But I do think we found something special here. So for now, I'm going to try and go to a once-a-week model on Sundays. The cray-cray is over, so once a week is kind of like the right pacing. I'll revisit that as time goes on, and I expect to be unveiling another very exciting public project about the Constitution in the months to come. But for now, for tonight, enjoy this glorious night, and I cannot wait to see you again.